Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming back to my show. My name's Alicia, and today we're going to talk about how to notice a state of resistance and what we can do to get ourselves back into a state of non resistance. What do I mean by that? So, when you're in a state of resistance, it's when it feels like you're swimming upstream, climbing uphill, like you're not in a flow, nothing's working with you, you're working against something. um, it can also be just a state of feeling frustration or any negative emotion that causes you to feel some sort of blockage somewhere. So it's necessary to swim with the current and not against it in all areas of life. From a creation standpoint, the universe prefers to use the least amount of energy possible to get from point A to point B. It always chooses the path of least resistance. And when we are working on something, let's say, for example, there's always another way to do a certain thing that you want to get done, is, I guess, is what I'm saying. And if you are trying to get something done and you feel like it's just not it's just not working with you, and you're just swimming against the current, and you're climbing uphill, and you just feel frustrated, just instead of continuing in that state, just stop what you're doing and get back in alignment, and allow yourself to come up, allow yourself to receive a new way of getting the same thing done that feels more in the flow. And if you don't stop and get yourself back in alignment first, you're not gonna be able to achieve that. So with everything, always alignment first, and then, whether it's something that you're working on, whether it's a difficult conversation that you have to have with someone, or you know um, a phone call that feels stressful that you don't want to make, an email that you have to write that you really want to avoid. And avoidance is another thing too. Anything that you're putting effort into avoiding, you're keeping in your space, you're keeping in your energy, you're going to keep it in your life, because what we resist persists. So don't try to avoid things, just try to approach them from a place of being in alignment. Because if you're in alignment and you're protecting your own energy field, you're a lot less likely to feel reactive against outside circumstances that you really can't control. People, things, situations, places. If you go into something that you would rather avoid, but you're at least in alignment first before you have that tough conversation or whatever it is that you a project that you have to start and you don't know where to start. um, it's a lot more difficult when there's a lot of resistance there. And resistance also blocks the things that you want to create and manifest into your life. So when you think about the things that you're trying to create, or the things that you want to attract into your life, pay attention to your thoughts and feelings around those things. Because if you feel things like, this has to happen or else I'm not going to be happy, or I just have to have this, you're you're sending out a message that you don't have the thing that you want, and so you're just going to keep getting more of that. So pay attention to the feelings that come up when it comes to the things that you want. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel joyful, if you can remain happy in the journey, happy in the process of a getting that thing or obtaining that thing or achieving that thing, that's a state of non-resistance and it's going to come to you much easier. But if you approach from a place of frustration or I can't be happy until I have this thing or achieve this thing or meet my goals, it's not it's not going to come to you. It might come to you with a lot of energy expenditure that is not necessary, and it might take a lot longer, but oftentimes it'll just be blocked altogether. It can't make its way to you because you're just energetically so off and so far away from where you need to be in order to create this thing, whatever it is that you want. So resistance has been a very big thing for me. I've had to do a lot of work with that, and I continue to do a lot of work with that. And I don't think that that's something that as a human being you can just achieve and then remain there without constantly checking in with yourself. How are you feeling? What are you thinking about? And it's so that's just a I think the daily practice there is getting in the habit of noticing when and where you feel resistance, and then one topic at a time, just focus on that and work through it one topic at a time. So, I mean, one of the ways that you can do that is, again, I'm a journal girl. I do a lot of journal work, and sometimes it's easy to write out the thing that is frustrating you or causing you to feel any kind of discomfort or sadness, and pick some key words that are the opposite of those feelings and start writing that down. And it starts to snowball. It starts to snowball. So, in other words, I've been feeling sad that my business hasn't taken off quite as quickly as I had hoped for. And then you can say, I'm hopeful that the turnaround is just around the corner, right? It's like when you plant a seed, you can't sit there and stare at it and wait for it to grow out of the ground. And a lot of times with the things that we're trying to cultivate in our lives, we can't sit there and stare at it like a pot of hot water that's about to boil. Sometimes you have to create space for things to grow. So you can say, well, you know what, I'm hopeful that things are going to work out. I know that they're going to work out. I just have to give it time to grow. I have to give it space to grow. And once you say one kind of positive thing about that, whatever it is, instead, and you can kind of snowball from there, get yourself back into a state of appreciation by listing things that you appreciate that don't even really have anything to do with your topic, your current topic that you're thinking about, because it just starts to rewire your consciousness to always gravitate towards things that you can appreciate and be grateful for. And that is something that when it's practiced often enough, that does start to become a little bit more effortless. So the more effortless that becomes, the less resistant we end up becoming in all of the areas of our life. So your brain doesn't know the difference between just a thought you think and what's real. So when you find yourself having thoughts that are not conducive to what you want, don't don't judge them, but just gently dismiss them. Just say, you know, I don't choose to think this thought anymore. It is not conducive to what I want, so I dismiss you. And I know it sounds silly, but it does actually work. And it's not something that is going to feel effortless all the time, but it does get easier. It does get easier the more you practice it. So again, with the journaling, I think it's really healthy to write down the things that are upsetting you that you need to reflect upon. And it doesn't even have to be um, the things that you're grateful for or that you're appreciating. They don't even have to be directly related, but it just starts to put you in a new state of mind where you feel better. So you don't have to convince yourself of something false. You just have to choose to focus on other things that make you feel better than that thing that's bringing you down. And if you put yourself in a state where you feel better, then that new idea has the space to come in. That new solution has the space to come in. You'll be open to receive it, because if you're in a state of not feeling good, you're not in a state where you are going to have a great new idea or a great new solution. So with everything, and I feel this way about everything in life, always alignment first and then. Whatever it is, and then is. If you come from a place of feeling good first, your outcome is always going to be way better. And again, I had to do a lot of inner work to see how much resistance I really had, and I had a lot of it, and I had a lot of it in a lot of areas. So it's definitely been a work in progress for me, and I'm still working on it every day. You can't, again, you can't tell your mind to stop thinking thoughts, but you can train it to get quieter. So that's really what the goal isn't perfection. The goal is today was better than yesterday. It's progress over perfection. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it is true. It does get easier. So does meditation. I know I talked about this in my last video, but again, it's something that I'm still really clearly working on, but I also think that it's extremely important to connect to your higher self and connect to your source to receive information, ideas, and also just the calmness of the absence of thought. Can you ever completely be absent of thought? No. But you can, it's practice to quiet the mind a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And the reason for this is because if you can get yourself in a state of quieting your mind, then you are in a state of non-resistance. And when you're in a state of non-resistance, that is when you can manifest powerfully. I have seen this occur before my eyes in my life on a couple different occasions where I thought about something that I wanted, and I didn't have an attachment, like a strong attachment to the outcome. It was more like a fleeting thought. And oh yeah, that would be really nice. That would be really nice if that happened. And then because wasn't attached to it, it wasn't something that I was like focusing on and thinking about. And I just kind of let it go, and then it's out there, and then it just unexpectedly arrives or unexpectedly happens, and it's like, wow, I didn't even try that hard. I wasn't even like looking for that actively. I wasn't actively thinking about that. It's like you put an order in and you let it go, and because there's no resistance to it at all, it comes to you easy. And because I've seen this happen, I've seen it happen, so I know I know that it's true. I know that non-resistance is a very powerful, powerful thing as far as creation and manifesting and attracting the things that you want in your life. Being detached from outcomes is a very, very, very big deal. And I think being detached from outcomes is about knowing that a certain thing can be created or come into your life without needing to know the how. That's what that's all about. So anyway, that is my message for today, and I appreciate all of you who have stuck with this video to the end. If you haven't already, I would appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe if you like my material. It's a free and easy way to support my growing channel. So I will see you guys on Monday, and have a great day, and I love you all. Bye-bye.